Thanks to the Library 2013 online conference sponsors and supporters. And if the two of you would like to participate in this, you may have done that in some of the other sessions, and just give me an idea where you're from. Do you know how to do this? You can just click on the little star. Actually, it's fine for you to tell me as well, since it's just the two of you. So I see Pamela is from North Carolina, and Joanne, where are you from? Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, whiteboard permissions. All right, so you got the whiteboard permissions now, and you can show me. Okay, yeah, Sydney. I have a few friends actually from there. Nice, we have somebody from South America as well. Great. Well, thank you again for stopping by, and welcome to our session on library website redesigns and usability studies. Oh, Trinidad. Okay, nice. I hope that at the end of this session you would have learned some useful things to apply to your redesign processes. Some of what I will cover may seem common sense, and some things may seem illogical on the other end, but our experiments at my library have thus far been quite successful for us, so I hope you listen with an open mind, and I hope you find everything useful. First, I just want to double check. You can hear me very well, correct? If you can't hear me well, just say something in the chat. Okay, great. I'm glad that at least one of you said you're going through your current website redesign, so hopefully some of the things that I talk about will be helpful to you. So let me just tell you real quick about who I am. My name is Stan Bogdanov, and I work as the Instructional Multimedia Specialist for Adelphi University's libraries. I'm originally from Bulgaria, actually, but I have been in the United States for about 10 years now. And for Adelphi, I handle a variety of initiatives at the library, from developing our website and mobile app to creating e-learning content, information literacy tutorials, and setting up Moodle courses that we use at the library. In March, I also co-founded a small educational technology startup called Boglio that develops custom computer-based training in e-learning. So the Adelphi libraries has gone through two major website redesigns in the past 3 years, and that is something that I don't personally think happens that often in the library field. And we're actually continually improving our website's design and usability right now, mainly built on top of some of the things that we learned from these past experiences. So in the late 2012, we decided that it was finally time we push the envelope even further with our website design and work on a site that is fully aimed at the student user. So paired that with a move to WordPress as a content management system, it was an ideal time for us to conduct some usability studies and use them to inform a fresh new design, just like Joanne says. We had done some surveying in the past and done some studies for other things, so we had quite a bit of things to draw from, and we definitely had a few things we knew were going to be problems. So some of the first things that I'd like to stress to talk about is actually some of the difficulties we have been encountering in general with our website designs. For one, I got to mention actually that up until up until the last website redesign that we did, we never really did any extensive formal usability studies that are involving students. We would often just ask students that we see or student assistants for feedback, or just in a way act on feedback that we're getting in library information literacy classes. However, we never had any formal usability studies. So by the time we got to do those, we had tried to learn as much as we can from from our previous experiences and from what we could find that has already been done in the field. So let me just jump in and say some of the problems that we had in the past with some other studies that we did, and with the very first usability study that we tried as well. The number one was definitely the poor student participation. I'm sure that's something that everybody experiences at some point, no matter how much you try to pitch something or how you're trying to get students coming in to volunteer for a usability study for the library website is not the most exciting thing to them, obviously, and usually you don't get high responses, but we're quite happy with some of the things we did that helped us beat this. Number two was inability to cover all we need to know, and that's something that came out mainly in our first usability study that we did, and that's the fact that we realized no matter how much you structure or unstructure a usability study, you really don't have the ability to learn all you need to be able to construct the new design, and you don't have the ability to cover all these minor little details that eventually turn out to be very important changes. And I'll give you some examples later on of some things that came about from our second usability study. Number three was the committee bottleneck. I just want to ask the three of you right now, how many of you work through a sort of a web committee or something, some sort of another committee that is in charge of the website redesign, or is it mainly in the hands of the library itself or the hands of IT itself? Joanne says she's working with the committee. Anybody else have any experience? Everything was done by us. Yes, trying to give control of the design is quite hard, and this is something that I'll cover myself actually. So I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Semoy or Semo. By Semoy. Okay. By everything done by you, do you mean that are you part of IT? Are you part of the library? I just want to get an idea. Or are you in one of those libraries who actually do everything internally in part of the library? I see. You did this independent of the school. I see. Yeah, sometimes doing something like that definitely works, and we actually took somewhat of an approach like this as well. Now, with our committee, that's something we've experienced in previous website redesigns besides the last two, and that's the fact that we work with a huge committee that I personally have no idea why it was assembled as such, that contains people from quite a few areas of the technical areas from the library that are not really directly involved with the website or involved with the online services. And often what ended up happening was we would have meetings, like whole meetings of an hour, more than an hour, 2-hour meetings that would concentrate just on one silly issue like the hue of blue that somebody wanted for a particular button or for a particular menu, or how somebody wanted a particular font and somebody else wanted another font, and things will get really out of control. And I think this is one of the reasons why actually our IT department really decided to take over kind of these processes. So ultimately the design and implementation was in their hands, especially now in our last redesign where we started utilizing WordPress. They were the ones that actually put the template together, so they were the ones we would have to go ultimately to for them to give us a sort of a template that they think the library is going to look like. However, we did something regarding this actually to kind of regain some control in the hands of the library, and regain the ability to actually be in charge of what our own website would look like. So the committee bottleneck, let me leave that as the third point. And number 4 would be lack of funding and ability to set up. And that's something that I'll talk about a little bit further on. And it refers to mainly the fact that usually for usability studies, I'm not sure how tight on the budget your libraries are. However, our library really has been pretty tight when it comes to funding for prizes or any food or anything like that for studies done in the library. So beyond that, though, there's also the fact that we wanted to utilize some software to perform some of these ability studies. There's different software that you can use to track movement and engagement on the screen, to track where students are looking at and what's drawing their attention and so on. So, but there's a problem with the not only in the cost, but also the fact that it would need kind of a great amount of setup and quite a lot of planning that usually is hard to do when everybody else has a lot of other work and when everything is done through a committee. So with that said, I'm going to try to address each of these areas and talk a little bit about some of the things that we did to combat these problems and have somewhat of successful studies. So poor student participation is definitely number one of the things that we wanted to try to avoid. We really wanted to have a variety of students, freshmen, sophomores, seniors, graduate students for people who are out of the U.S., freshman, sophomore, that's first year, second year students. Senior is the fourth year. So we wanted to be able to have a really wide range of students. We wanted to have enough students of diverse backgrounds, diverse knowledge, honors college, diverse schools within Adelphi, whether it's the School of Nursing or School of Social Work, etc., so that we get a better idea of how the different populations view the website, how they use the website, and what they go to the website for. So usually with a lot of these studies, what people do is they would offer either free lunches, free food, or prizes. And we did all of that as well, which is important, I believe, to really engage students. But the one thing that we found that when it came to prizes and offering something to the students was something that you helped me come to by answering this question. So if you're when you're looking at this slide, which one would you choose? Would you choose the Kindle on the left, or would you choose the $80 in cash on the right? And I'll tell you why I'm asking that question. You see that Seymour is writing something. That's true. I would personally choose the money as well. I would go for the Nuke HD as well. However, what we found out is, and this is something that had been discussed through a lot of things from before, including the New York Higher Education Technology Forum. That is a forum that a bunch of Long Island universities, including Hofstra, Long Island University, and Adelphi University organize, where different schools from New York State get together to discuss a variety of information technology and educational technology related issues within their schools. And one of the things that came out from that technology forum was how often students end up choosing a gadget or a tool instead of cash when they're offered to choose. and I forget which university it was. I believe it was Long Island University that did some experiments where they offered students $500 as a scholarship to go towards their tuition, or a $500 iPad. And most students, obviously, well, actually not obviously, but most students chose the iPad versus getting the money for towards their tuition. I believe the amount of students that actually chose the money was very, very small. And this is something that we have been noticing as a trend in previous studies that we've done too, where we've offered, say, a gift card to the Barnes & Noble that we have on campus, or some other little device or some other little trinket. So for this particular study, we decided to really ditch the whole gift card prizes and go for something like the Kindle. So this is why instead of offering, say, an $80 gift card, at that point we got the $80 Kindle. I believe it's actually cheaper now as well. I think actually for the first study that we did, my mistake, actually for the first study that we did, we went with the brand new Kindle Fire. So the Kindle Fire had just come out. It was a hot new gadget, and we decided to really ride on its popularity and offer that instead of a gift card. This was kind of a tremendous success. When you have something like the Kindle Fire, advertising the event, advertising the usability study and the need for the focus group is actually much easier. I don't know if it's the poor or anything else, but I believe actually it's also the advertising factor, and let me tell you why. Having the Kindle, we were able to now include its image, include its, some of Amazon promotional materials that we're allowed to use in a variety of mediums. We posted it on our blog, we posted it on Facebook. Adelphi's Facebook, the whole school advertised it to its more than 6,000 followers too. We posted it on our digital signs, and we also posted it on eCampus, which is the portal for students to actually access their email and other services that we offer. So the fact that we had the Kindle there, I believe, gave more visibility to the study, more visibility to the advertising and marketing material, and really drew quite a lot of students. At the end, actually, we had so many students submit their contacts as interested in participating in the focus groups that we were able to really select equal amounts of each population that I spoke about that we needed, and we were able to select students in such a way that we could combine their schedules, and we would really be able to have fewer focus groups going on at the same time and maximize the time we ourselves as staff were putting in the usability studies. And this actually leads me to the fact that I forgot to mention that for the usability studies that we did for the last website redesign, we actually we were tasked to do 2 usability studies. One would be a study based on our old website, which is what you saw, and the other one would be a usability study that we would do after the new website is launched, for things for us to improve on it. We actually changed our minds with the second usability study, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But with the first usability study, we decided to do it more of a focus group, and this leads me to beating problem number 2, which is learning about the little things that are problematic for students when it comes to the current website or the now old website. So we decided to do that usability study as a sort of a smaller focus group where we would utilize clickers in a convenient and fast way to get a general idea of what the students knew about the current website, what they knew about how to access materials on it, or whether they made any distinctions between certain areas on the website, between things like, for example, article and database search or a journal title search, etc. And beyond the clickers, though, we decided that one of the best ways to learn, although it would require us to do more post the usability study to analyze the results, was to have more free-form conversations with the students throughout the whole time where we test them with the clickers. We decided to, instead of the usual trying to separate them in such a way so that they don't kind of get influenced by each other, which is a problem that you can read about in a lot of research done on focus groups, where sometimes people in a focus group could develop a sort of a herd mentality. We decided to really let them vibe off each other when it comes to the problems they've had with the website or the ways they've used the website, and they really opened up and shared with us quite a few things that we would have never actually thought about asking, and quite a few things that helped us redo more areas of the website that we never thought were as important. Yes, great. Thank you for the comments, Joanne and Pamela. So let me show you a sample clicker question. We went through quite a bit of different ideas on how to actually utilize the clickers. Obviously, we wanted to keep things simple, and we didn't want to try to give them too many options with these type of questions, because we wanted to address any other things with our conversations with them. So this is why we decided to concentrate just on a few areas. And later on, we actually learned from some of this, and we improved the second time around, because I think that by doing some of the things that we did right now with these clicker questions, we actually gave up a lot of the information that we wanted to find out that students genuinely knew. And you'll see what I mean. Let me show you a sample clicker question. For example, we would show them something like this. Let's say your professor has asked you to use the library website in order to find a scholarly article on cyberbullying. Where would you click to find it? And they would be instructed to use the keys in the clicker from 1 to 5, and they would be given screenshots of the actual website with, a nice highlighting. With a lot of these, actually, there was no really wrong answer. Well, there are wrong answers, but there are multiple correct answers. So it was really a way for us to also just get a general idea of what people, where people usually accessed materials through, whether it's drop-down menus or that quick search box that you see at the bottom. One thing actually that came out from this is the fact that students did not know that the drop-down menus were actually drop-down menus. And right after this focus group, we were able to implement kind of a small design change to indicate that these things are drop-down menus to help them out. But if we hadn't asked them verbally, if we hadn't opened it up for comments and made the usability study more open-ended versus just click here and for the right answer, we would have probably never found that out. Yeah, see, Joanne wouldn't have realized it either. But it's hard to figure out some of those things when you're in a big committee composed of librarians who utilize the website all the time, and they know where everything is and they know how to use it. So it's harder for everybody to abstract themselves and concentrate on, well, what would somebody who hasn't used the website think? So this is a sample of a clicker question that we used. Something that we changed later on is the fact that we learned quite a lot. It was useful because a lot of the questions that we asked gave us a general idea of what students knew, but most of the useful feedback obviously came from the verbal comments. What we realized, though, is that we were maybe limiting options a little too much, and maybe we were giving away kind of the answers a little bit too much as well. So for the second time around, we kind of ditched the whole idea of the clickers, ditched the whole idea of the digital in general, and we did something quite different that so far I don't know if others have done, but it was very useful for us, and I'll come to that a little bit later. So let me bring you to the third point, which is the committee. I like this little graphic here. So we've always had trouble moving fast enough when we go through the committee. We've always had trouble picking the right direction and concentrating on the right things, and we ended up with website designs that are either too complicated and full of billions of links, or on the other end, billions of images and graphics, because everybody thinks that the more graphics you have, the better everything is, and the more it attracts attention, while not understanding that things actually get more confusing and everything everything gets much harder to find. So I really personally like a quote here, which I'm not sure if it's originally his, and I don't think it is, but I like the author Tim Ferriss, who's a motivational author, and he talks about how he once, in one of his books, I believe it's called The 4-Hour Workweek, he talks about learning to ask for forgiveness and not permission, and urges people to jump in and do things, and even if they fail at the end, he's saying that there's much more value in doing this and then asking for forgiveness versus getting into this bottleneck when you ask for permission for every little element. So what we did actually in the library is, since I'm the person who's I'm glad you like the quote. I think one of the things that really helped us is, since I'm the person who is in charge of the website and would be the person who really does a lot more of the putting things together and a lot more of the kind of design assembly, we decided to, well, by me I mean by we, I mean the dean, the associate dean of the library, and me, decided to kind of take an approach where we would work in a smaller group together with a couple of the librarians. One of them was the chairman of the web committee, and another librarian, to really build the website as we thought was going to work best from all the comments that we had seen from the usability study and from all the comments that we had from faculty and staff from other times. So we got together, and what we decided to do is we decided to employ kind of a technique for rapid website prototyping. So if we went through the current Adelphi website, because the website had started to transition to the new WordPress system, and the Adelphi IT team was releasing the new websites for all the different schools, all the different schools and administrative areas. We knew that what Adelphi IT would do is they would come up with a sort of a template that they would like us to start using as well, and that they would like us to adjust what we want towards. So we decided to be a little preemptive with that and go with the whole ask for forgiveness later type of strategy, and go through the current website and grab elements from other schools or administrative areas that had already gotten their new websites that we liked. So we would get elements that we liked, and then we would also go outside to other libraries that we thought had websites that worked really well and that we thought had functionality that addressed some of the things that came out from the first usability studies, and we would cobble all of these elements together into a sort of our own template and our own prototype of what we thought the library website would look like. And this is one of the first kind of iterations of it. We grabbed, I don't know if you can see my mouse actually on the screen, but right here to the right where you see this sort of a blue video that says how to navigate the library website, we grabbed that functionality from one website of I believe the School of Business at Adelphi. Then the menu and the header, we saw the menu with the header/logo, we saw that was something standard among all the new website designs. So we knew that IT would definitely want us to use this. So we decided that, okay, yes, we'll grab that, we'll get this, we'll use that. Obviously, we want the library website to look like it's also part of the rest of Adelphi's website. So we took that at the top. We repurposed one button that says My Library Record. That was a button at the admissions office, and we repurposed that button to make our library record, which contains student finds, all their books that they're checked out, their ability to renew books, and so on. So that was actually a feature that students expressed desire that was that wasn't visible at all, and needed to be featured quite a lot. So as you can see, it's much more featured at our new website. So then we took kind of the quick links idea from another website. We took this quick search box from a different library. We took the hours, the way the hours are displayed from a different library, because that was another area that students wanted to have access to right away. And then we included a few other graphics here that were promotional. So this was maybe one of the first prototypes that we did. And what we would do is, with that core group of members, when we went to our web committee meetings, we wouldn't just go there wanting to discuss the results from the usability studies or to discuss people's ideas. We would actually go there with this prototype that we put together and ask them to comment on the prototype itself, on the mock-up itself, and ask them to concentrate on trying to tweak that or mention any things that we hadn't noticed ourselves from the usability studies. So yes, the Did You Know box is actually quite handy nowadays, so I'll show you a little bit later too. So that's how we continue to really drive this whole process through trying to prototype things and put things together in Photoshop from all these different places, and present them at the committee, rather than try to come up with things during our committee meetings themselves. And you can see some variants that we went through here. Here is we pushed the hours here at the top, for example, and created this sort of a quick reference section where we moved the quick links under there. We really tried to streamline things and make the design much cleaner in a way, definitely include more white space, and just try to concentrate on the main areas that we want to stress on. and then we got to this point too. You see library hours is even more simplified. It's just showing today's hours, and that's it. Here we have, under that we have a place for the video or an image. Library floor maps have actually improved a little bit, I don't know if you noticed, but then we have the Did You Know section again, and the Delphi logo / banner is getting better. Yes, we have a smiling face too in the Did You Know section. That's actually the chairman of the web committee, and we figured that it would be, for one, good to use her in our samples, but for two, we started to do a series of these graphics that we realized would not just advertise and mention some new features to our students, but also allow them to connect better with the librarians and really, see their faces, really kind of learn who those people behind the screens helping them are. So this is what we did to address the problem with the committee. And the last problem with the no funding and no setup is actually something that leads me to our second usability study. So as I said before, the first study that when we first started this last website redesign, we had to do two usability studies. One would be on the old website in order to inform what we need to change and how we need to design the new website. And the other one would be after we launch the website to just verify what changes still need to be made and what still needs to be working. However, as we were doing this and as we were doing this whole rapid prototyping with the web committee, we realized that there was really no point for us to wait to do a usability study after we launch a website, because there could be quite a few things that we're missing out right now that should rather be addressed right away versus addressed once the website launches. And quite a few libraries that I know have made the mistake of rushing and trying to launch the website and then fix problems, and thus entering, somewhat committing actually to a design that could be quite problematic in the future or not as flexible to change. So we decided to move that usability study and perform a usability study on what we hadn't yet created. So this obviously had some problems, mainly with the fact that the new website didn't exist anywhere. We only had Photoshop mock-ups of what we thought it may look like. So we really tried to think hard of what we wanted to do and how we could do a sort of a study that would inform us, but at the same time not really be. I'm sorry, give me. I'm having some trouble here with my computer. To a usability study that would inform us, but not really let us not really confuse students. I apologize. And give me 2 seconds. There's a pop-up actually appeared on my computer that I had to deal with. So yes, social media was actually one of the things that we realized we had left out and we hadn't addressed. So as we decided to do the second usability study earlier, we figured we went through different ideas of how to do it most appropriately, and what we realized is that there was really no way we could learn about how students would use the new website without them really having the chance to use it in some way. So the approach we took was actually going analog and doing a sort of a paper usability study. What we did is, as we were rapidly prototyping, we would schedule focus groups with a smaller amount of students at regular intervals from each other, where we would show students printouts, colored printouts of the actual mock-ups, telling them that this is the new website, and since they're seeing it for the first time, that gave us a unique possibility to ask them some other questions and give them some tasks to see how they, as brand new, fresh users, would be able to find the information that they need, or what they, as users, found attracted their attention with the new website, and what they thought was still missing. So the way we work is we would show them something like this, for example, where we would say, let's say your professor has asked you to use the library website in order to find a scholarly article for your paper, and then we would ask where would you click to find it, and ask them to actually use a pen to circle the area. And surprisingly, although this may sound silly, it worked out really well. Students had kind of a clean slate, and they had an ability to choose whatever area they wanted and not be limited to a few options that we provide them, the way we did with the clicker usability studies. And some of them actually circled things in areas that we thought nobody would circle, that nobody would think they're clickable, or nobody would think they're active links. And the good thing is that sometimes students, if they were unable to figure something out, they would just tell us, "Oh, I can't do that," or nothing is visible right away. So quite a few things came out actually of those focus groups. So what we decided to do is we decided to change the mock-ups as we were having the focus groups. So while this prevented us from being able to kind of have an aggregate of results from all of the people that participated in the focus groups, it actually also allowed us to test drive different things, test drive different elements that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. For example, one of the things that came out as very important, and it's something that we're very proud influenced the whole design of Adelphi University's website, is the fact that this button that says the My Library Record, although it was separated, although it was colored differently than everything else, it was still very hard for students to see, and they still complained that they didn't know where to access their library record. Yeah, it's brown, mainly brown actually, because it was the colors of Adelphi are brown and gold. But it was still not visible, and it wasn't enough. So in some of our other testing mock-ups that we did in the focus groups, we used a gold button, which, if you go to Adelphi University's website, you will see now is the standard color for all of these buttons throughout the website. And this is something that I'm very proud of, because IT was very much against it. Our IT department hated the idea. After we kept praising them of what's happening with our usability studies, but they really didn't like some of the things that we were telling them, and didn't think that they would work, or didn't want to work on them. However, at the end, with the fact that we went through so many different mini focus groups where we were able to test out quite a few things, we actually had the arsenal, we had the stuff to go back to them and argue with them logically of why we think something works better, and why we think something may be more useful in a certain way or may look better in a certain way. And this is one of the things that helped us kind of win the battle of having IT really design the website exactly how we wanted it at the end, instead of trying to fit us into a template for that a lot of the other departments were using. Obviously, one of the things we had to explain to them was the fact that the library is not, say, the School of Business or the School of Social Work, and our website is not just a website where people would come and learn about what the library is and what we offer, but it's actually a website where we have quite a few things that we have to offer, so it's quite different. This is what I mean by the last stand, actually, because convincing the IT department of everything that we had learned from the usability studies and going to them with that final mock-up that we really went through so many iterations with, convincing them that this is what really would work, and it's not just us that they're saying so, it's the students that think so, it's not just our design, it's the students' design too, because this is what they want and this is how they think it would work best. And it really, that I believe really helped us and really helped the IT department too, because they, besides the yellow button, they implemented quite a few other changes that we had suggested in other areas of Adelphi University's website. So let me summarize kind of some of the things that we talked about today. I believe from what we tried, a hot gadget seems like it's worth more than cash. And I would highly advise you try to ride the trend of something hot, something new right now that is popular when you're trying to attract students for your usability studies. Furthermore, it will also help you with the marketing campaign and make it easy to create attractive advertising for it. Number two is definitely explore multiple study techniques. Don't get bogged down on just taking a survey or even just talking with somebody. Try to experiment with clickers. Try to experiment with whiteboards. We did that as well. And mostly don't be afraid to go analog. I am to this day quite surprised at how well the paper method worked, and I believe we will be utilizing that method quite a lot in the future to be able to identify those little minor things that we need to change, like say the color of the My Library Record button from brown to gold or something like that. It really helps to be able to prototype something really fast like this and show it to a student who hasn't seen it before and gauge its effectiveness right there on the spot. And number 4 is definitely try to prototype rapidly while you do the studies. No matter what your skills are, if you're able to at least cobble together elements from different websites, from different parts of your own university's website, if you are a academic library, I think prototyping throughout the whole process not only just kind of makes it much faster when it comes to dealing with the committee, but also makes it more useful and ultimately makes the new design more complete and needing much less changes in the future. This is what our new website looks right now, and you can see the proudly standing out My Library Record. It is still a sort of a evolving website actually. This is when we first launched it, and since then we've actually changed a few things already. The hours are pretty nice functionality there, and right now what we're doing is we're tightening that area so that we can include that image and include that how to navigate the library website video. We were unable to do that in the beginning mainly because of technical constraints and having IT having to work through that. And yes, you see that we have a form, a short survey for website feedback. So we decided right with our website launch, we're going to feature a survey right there. So If something came out right away, we would be able to correct it before the semester started. So we actually launched the website in the summer as a soft launch, and that gave us a few months before our fall semester started to fix some little problems that might have appeared or that we may have not realized we had to address. And yes, every library, I agree with Julian, every library should have a website feedback form. We used SurveyMonkey for that, by the way, in case you're wondering. So I just want to remind you my mantra, and I hope that you apply this in as much as you can to ask for forgiveness and not for permission when it comes to your website redesigns. And with that, I'd like to thank you for coming, and thank you for listening in. And I know we have a little bit of time, so I'd like to open it up really quick for a short discussion. So I'll enable now everybody with microphone rights, and if you have a microphone, you can click the talk button in the top left to talk, or you can just write something in the chat and I'll try to address your questions. I see Seymour is writing something. To manage the library catalog. Well, our catalog uses a service from Innovative Interfaces. So we use their Webpack, OPAC services. I don't know if you know the company. I'm not as familiar with that since I don't work so much with the back end, and I'm more responsible with anything that's front-end facing, like the website and our guides or the little mobile web app that we have. Yes, Joanne, thanks. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask as well. Let me see. One thing that I didn't mention that I think Google Chrome is very useful for is Google Chrome has something, a feature called Inspect. It has a very nice inspector, so it takes a little bit to get used to if you are not a web person, web designer or coder, but if you're in a website and you right-click on an element, such as a link or such as an image, and you click on Inspect this element, you will be able to actually see the code for that image. And you're able to, on the spot there, edit the text that is being displayed, edit that element. And this is how I was able to put together a lot of those mockups. I would go to a website and then I would change some things using the inspector or copy things. And I see that Seymour has done the same thing. It really helps. I see Joanne is writing something. Yeah, it's a very handy feature, and you can, I'm sure you can Google it to learn a little bit more about it. And I use it all the time to just kind of make changes to something so that people are able to see those changes right away on the screen. And that has been very helpful in our committee meetings and very helpful in doing that, the rapid prototyping that I mentioned. Yes, you can just get ideas for coding as well. That's true. This is actually how we found out about the functionality that we currently use for our hours. That drop down that shows hours for the different centers that we have. For what tool did I use for student drawing circles? Bye. Thank you all for attending. Well, for the time when we had students actually drawing things on the paper, they just used just pen and paper. Yes, it was all on paper. So everything was printed on paper, and yeah, they just used a pencil. No, it was not on the screen. That's why I said you go analog, and we went analog. Yeah, we printed everything on paper, so it was a little strange having them look at a website on paper, but I thought it worked out really well. All right, thank you all for attending. Hopefully the recording is useful to others as well. Thanks a lot for the feedback. And you can always send me an email if you want any more information, or you can reach out to me on Twitter as well. So with this, I'd just like you to ask you now to exit the room so that I can finish the recording. Thank you.